morning, everyone. So thank you very much for this opportunity. For the next panel, we are going to discuss about the Data Act and the impact on the blockchain aspect, specifically on the smart contracts regarding the requirements. So before we dive into our topic, I would like to take a moment to thank the European Commission, DG Connect and INATBA for organizing this full-day event. It's a unique opportunity to explore the regulatory and security and standardization challenges for the digital European market in leveraging blockchain technology. As your moderator today, I'm honored to lead the discussion alongside a distinguished panel of experts joining us remotely. I would also like to highlight my involvement in ISO TC 307 technical committee as a French expert, which has been shaping blockchain standardization since its inception in 2017. Europe has taken a pioneering role as the first continent to push for both regulation and standardization, enabling private and public organizations to innovate confidently with a clear legal framework, I will say. However, striking the right balance in the regulation remains a challenge. It must be robust enough to provide clarity without restraining innovation. With this in mind, I'm thrilled to guide today the conversation, which will focus on the Article 30 of the EU Data Act, specifically its implication for smart contracts. I will let the experts introducing themselves quickly and detail us about their involvement in blockchain space. We'll start with Christina. If Christina, you can start. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you very much, Christoph. Hello, everyone. I am Christiana Aristidou, a practicing transnational technology lawyer working in the intersection of law regulation, standardization policy. What is transnational is EU and cross-border technology, regulatory, and standardization compliance. Having said this, I participate in a number of committees in CEN-CENELEC, ISO, ETSI. My main committees being JTC 19 and ISO TC 307. For these two, I have been heading the national delegation for many, many years now. Also, I am the co-chair of the working group on standardization in INATBA. Also a passionate educator, a trainer for regulators around the world, especially on the EU regulation, regulatory frameworks and standards. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christiana. I will switch to Sudha.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me here today. I'm Sudha Iyer, Chief Engineer for Cryptography at Citi, where I lead enterprise cryptography initiatives across Citi, FSISAC, quantum safe financial forums, digital assets, and mostly towards cryptographic resilience and quantum readiness. My work in smart contract security, to be frank, started and began with ISO as a preliminary work item where I was driving and leading the standardization effort for smart contract security. I led the research and technical direction for that. That effort led to a structured and multi-party international standard where experts like Christoph and Dongbin are contributing, including Gabby, on the multi-party standard, covering spaces around development, code assurances, verification, and deployment controls. Earlier in 2017 at Citi and at ISO, I have done some significant successful work on the use case side. At the same time, I co-invented a patented secure DLT key management design, which today protects billions of digital asset transactions. Importantly, it achieves this as at a significantly less or lower operational cost, approximately 1/10 compared to the MPC plus secure enclave based approaches. I think I'm here to share my perspective about building real world secure systems at scale and also contributing to international standards, uplifting several things together at the same time. Thanks for having me here again.
Thank you, Sudha, for having you today. And Jose Costa, could you please introduce yourself, Jose?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Jose Costa, and thank you for this invitation to be in this panel for the EU and the DG Connect. And then, the Portuguese delegating the TC207 and JTC19, and also member of other instances, let's say technical committees involved with the development of standards. Regarding the blockchain and smart contracts, I'm project leader for 18126, the technical specification for taxonomy and classification for smart contracts. And also, now working with Christoph in these multi-party standards for smart contract security, focused on code review. And I've also been working with the standardization both from TC207 and JTC19, actually before JTC19, so it was the focus group. So I'm together with these groups since the beginning. Thank you very much and have a nice day, and let's have a good discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. Just a technical question, Jose. Is it possible to activate your video to see you, or? Yes, it's better. just activate your mic.
Yes, it's possible. Just kind of struggling with with the connection, but yeah, okay, sure.
Okay.
I can keep it. Yeah, if if I struggle, I turn off the video. Okay, thank you.
Yes, so thank you very much for all experts to be here today. Before starting the first questions, I just want to, I will say, outline the Article 30 about 6 essential requirements for smart contracts for the audience, and that we will try to explore today during these sessions. So we have the first requirement is regarding the accountability. So defining the responsible persons or entities for ensuring compliance with smart contract requirements, either the vendor or, in the absence of vendor, the individuals. Immutability and security aspects, and emphasizing the importance of technical implementation to ensure the integrity of smart contracts. The third one is safe termination and interruptions, addressing governance rules to manage smart contracts like pausable function or termination securely. The fourth one, it's interoperability and standardization, highlighting the need for open standards to enhance compatibility across systems by probably including oracles. Equivalence requirements, ensuring that smart contracts meet equivalent performance and functionality standards. And of course, protection of trade secrets, the last one, safeguarding intellectual property, and sensitive information while maintaining compliance. So the Data Act probably is an important, I will say, article regarding the data that we are storing on the blockchain as well, but also using with interoperable systems that are off-chain, I will say that. So to go deeply on this aspect, I will probably ask a first question, starting to Christiana, because I think that she has the better hat of legal aspects as well, including all the experts here. Christiana, if you can start just to let us know how this article of the Data Act define the essential requirements for smart contract and what are the key compliance challenges for, I will say, developers, organizations as well. And I will probably just add a few additional role regarding also AI agent. As you know, we previously on the previous panel, we tried to understand how AI can impact also I will say the accountability aspect in our day life. Probably AI agents and smart contract will also have something, a specific role that we have to discuss. So thank you, Christiana.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Christoph. So Article 30, in my view, a turning point. Why? Article 30 is in many ways one of the most consequential provisions for the future of digital systems in Europe, because it does something fundamentally different from previous regulatory approaches, and I will explain why. So what we are witnessing, and being a lawyer and a blockchain expert at the same time, you understand why I see this in this way. What we are witnessing is a transition away from the early narrative of code is law towards something much more sophisticated, where code must comply with law and must do so by design. So it does not simply regulate behavior at the user level. It does not simply impose obligations on organizations in an abstract sense. Instead, it reaches into the architecture of digital systems and begins to define how those systems themselves must operate. In that sense, Article 30 is not just a legal provision. Article 30 is a design mandate. At its core, it establishes essential requirements for smart contracts using data sharing environments. These include robustness, access control, auditability, and crucially, the ability to terminate or interrupt execution where necessary. Now, on the surface, these may appear as reasonable safeguards, but when we translate them into technical reality, we begin to see the depth of the transformation they require, because what the EU is effectively saying with this article is that if a smart contract governs access to data and therefore participates in the functioning of the data economy, it must be controllable, it must be accountable and aligned with legal obligations at all times. And that marks a profound shift from the original philosophy of blockchain systems. We are moving away from the idea that immutability alone guarantees trust and toward a model where trust is achieved through a combination of technical robustness, governance mechanisms, and regulatory alignment. This creates several layers of complexity, of course. The first and perhaps the most fundamental is a tension between immutability and control. Smart contracts were originally, as we all know, designed to be irreversible. That was their core value proposition. But Article 30 requires precisely the opposite: the ability to intervene, to stop execution, to correct behavior when necessary. This means that we are no longer designing purely autonomous systems. We are designing systems that must incorporate controlled intervention mechanisms, whether through upgradability, governance layers, or other forms of managed control. And this raises important questions. How do we introduce intervention without undermining trust? How do we ensure that control mechanisms themselves are not abused? And how do we standardize these approaches so that they are applied consistently across the market? And the second major challenge is the translation of legal requirements into technical specifications. The regulation speaks in terms of robustness. The regulation speaks in terms of security, reliability, but these are not self-executing concepts. Developers need clarity. They need measurable criteria. They need to understand what constitutes compliance in practice. And without standardization, each implementation risks interpreting these requirements differently. This leads directly to fragmentation, which is precisely what the digital single market seeks to avoid. So the third challenge is accountability. When a smart contract governs access to data, as I said at the beginning, and something goes wrong, responsibility becomes distributed across multiple actors, developers, deployers, operators, and potentially even users. Without clear frameworks, this creates uncertainty, both legally and operationally. And this is where standardization becomes absolutely critical, because standards do not just provide technical guidance, as we know, they provide shared interpretations of regulatory requirements, enabling consistency, enabling interoperability, and legal certainty. So ultimately, Article 30 is not simply regulating smart contracts. It is redefining smart contracts as regulated components of Europe's data infrastructure. And that requires us to rethink not only how we build these systems, but how we govern, test, certify, and standardize them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Christina, for all the explanation. So I think that just to add something, and probably if Sudha or Jose want to make a comment, on the open source, I will say spirit. It's complicated that I will say that we enforce, I will say, developers that are sometimes not in Europe to say, okay, so you have to comply with the European regulatory framework if you want to enter on the European market. As a blockchain as well, for public blockchain, they are most of them decentralized, so it means that a service deploying using a smart contract that was not targeting first the European market, and I would say with a trend for the use case, let's say DeFi, for example, they will use users from Europe, from around the world, use the smart contract for making the use case possible. I think that we in terms of compliance and of course standardization, we have a role that are both important. However, there is probably some requirements that could also have an effect on the innovation. Let's say regarding the accountability aspect, you have some developers that don't want to be accountable for, I will say, for an experimentation to innovate because they don't know the risks. So if they are afraid as well to innovate because they are accountable, it could also cause, I will say, some innovative experts, some innovative startups or companies to try to deploy their use case outside the Europe. So we have also probably on the article probably to works to be more flexible in this also, I will say, aspects to help I will say national bodies for standardization and authorities as well. Let's say for DeFi you have financial authorities that are also looking for to try to manage such smart contracts on their respective industries, and they want to use legal tools, but also standardization tools to say, okay, so now we have smart contract that could be legally binding or not. This is one question. And I think that on the ISO or any technical organization standards, the question regarding the legal implementation and the technical implementation, it's always in all working groups, I will say that, in the mind. But I think that standards also could, technical standards could also be a reference for legal framework. So I think that we, as experts working on that side, it's complicated to try to anticipate. But if we made the standards and these standards are after it supported by legal framework, I think that probably we have yes a huge leverage here to be adopted. So I don't know if Sudha or Jose want
Yes.
to add a comment. Yes, Sudha.
So I'd like to add. So actually, it's there are multiple elements to how standards progress versus how regulations progress, right? So regulations, from my perspective, and this is my own perspective, it looks like regulations usually operate in a defense first approach, wherein they are trying to defend or protect something, whereas standards are always incremental. They are like Christiana already pointed out, they are built on the fundamentals of interoperability and incremental security, one on top of each other. Now, summing this up from the blockchain standpoint, both and the AI. So most of the AI on the development side, which is the focus of this article, is also built on version control based tools which use Merkle tree based architectures, and that's where the overlap of blockchain could be, as the tamper proof evidence that Gabby was touching upon. So there are some overlaps, there are some protection that you can build using blockchain, but the foundational point is where do you start? And standards becomes a very good incremental security standpoint. And there could be a middle ground wherein the regulations and standards meet to meet the realistic expectations. For example, in blockchain or the DLT system, you can stop the transaction, but once the transaction is already sent to some other receiver or a public blockchain, you can literally not do anything about it unless you're treating it on a business logic, saying that, okay, we are treating them as some gated transactions that we do not know. So regulations could probably help on that side as well, is what I'm saying. That's all I wanted to add. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Sudha. So
Yes.
yes, Jose.
No. Let's keep the discussion. I think you're going to come back to this topic. Yeah, but let's move on. I think. Yeah.
Okay. So regarding the next question regarding I think that the security aspect and the resilience aspect is very important as well. So probably Sudha, if you can keep going on that subject, what measures should be implemented to ensure the security and the resilience of smart contracts, specifically in the light of recent, we'll say, high-profile exploits in the blockchain space? We are facing every day to different exploits using or not AI tools. So what measure that we should implement regarding this article in relation with probably with the standard that you are also working on.
Again, so it is very difficult to implement a kill switch, to be frank. It takes a whole village to build a kill switch security, I would say. So there are a lot of moving parts there. Again, things which are built closer to security and standards, it's easier to add that additional incremental security on top of it. And it doesn't need to be the newly built standards. All these products are built out of some or the other interoperability standards. The designs which have completely swayed around and started to, build something from the scratch, wherein there is a lot of embedded tooling and designs, that's where the security and exploits are missing, because they are usually built like black box, like one solution that does everything, which actually violates the design principles like single responsibility, segregation of duties and all those things, because of the hype. And I would say this is only because of the hype, and literally everything is sold as if it solves the whole problem, and like agentic AI solves everything. Blockchain security, when it came, oh, this is the new kind of finance, you don't have to do the banking side of finance, this is the only way. And then this creates a lot of mess, because then there are no regulations around it, there is no security guardrails around it, there is no need to know principles around it. So I think the exploits, there is some level of security that you can apply, but it all depends on how you handle your keys, how you handle your interoperability framework, and how you kind of look at the code review and like the basic hygiene that is there in your architecture and the interoperability. I think that is the simplest explanation that I could give.
Yeah, thank you, Sudha. Yes, so I think that, yeah, the security aspect, it's I think a huge challenge. Of course, there is different methodologies, different solutions, I will say, to try to fix it, regarding with the accountability aspect as well. Because when you are, I will say, developers, let's say that you have not a legal entity, you just want to experiment a use case and you deploy a smart contract, you have developed, probably, if you are not technical, you have used AI to develop your smart contracts, so you deploy it, you just pay fees on the public network to propose your service, and then by the effect of I will say a social network, the use case is the smart contract it's called, and probably there is some risks as well to related to blockchain, I will say decentralization aspect, of course, but also the fact that now AI is helping, I will say, non-technical people to deploy their services, their smart contracts. So I think that in that aspect, this is something new, to be honest, because I will say that AI 2 years before, it was just a chatbot, asking questions and replying to our questions. But now AI is also used in the development aspect for, I would say, software, and people are using it even in blockchain space. But the issue that we can also probably raise is that the use of AI to developing smart contracts could probably also affect the security behind the blockchain network layer. So I will say you why, because people I will say general people or general organization or authorities, they know that every day there is security exploits, hack, on blockchain space. So sometimes it's a smart contract, sometimes it's a wallet, it's a cryptographic algorithm. So it's very technical. And they say, okay, so now we have AI agent that can deploy any smart contract. We are not sure who is behind these services. How we can, I will say, regulate or control it. So this is, I think, that the main question regarding the Data Act, to be sure that institutions or massive adoption users could use it safely in a compliant way. So this is a huge challenge, I think, that for experts like you to make standards and try to also update the usage of such standards with new tools like AI, probably, but in the legal aspect as well, say, okay, so we have a Data Act, Article 30, version 1, version 2, and this version also should probably follow, we'll say, the new usage, the new tools behind AI. To say, so we have now a convergence between AI and blockchain in different use cases. This is a huge topic. And regarding this interoperability, probably Jose, if you can just let us know how we can ensure the interoperability, of course, between smart contract platforms while adhering to the essential requirements outlined in the Data Act briefly.
No, sure. I mean, it's like, I mean, interoperability is, let's say, one of the, I mean, it's a cornerstone of the, let's say, the EU Data Act. And also the, let's say, the regulation enforces, right, a lot of requirements regarding the interoperability, and smart contracts has, let's say, an important role in these regards. Somehow, I mean, you have to, I mean, even to, let's say, to address, let's say, switching and, let's say, and portability and integration with the different solutions, and to enable, let's say, the data sharing properly. So interoperability should be faced towards different facets. So recently, the interoperability standard from TC307 has been released and or published. And with these regards, they talk about these facets, although, I mean, in the Act, you mentioned mostly only about semantic aspects, I mean, but you also have to take into consideration the technical aspects, the syntax aspects, the behavioral aspects, and the policy aspects, so that the interoperability is ensured, let's say, in different parts of the or different facets that need to be addressed, so that the solution will work properly and you'll be able to, let's say, have interoperable solutions. Is it an easy task? No, it's not an easy task. There's a lot of things, there is a lot of way, I mean, still to be, I mean, that you need to go through, I mean, before achieving that. Actually, interoperability in these regards, I mean, is, I mean, you talk about the Data Act, I mean, you talk about smart contracts, and as I said, smart contracts has an important role here. But, and as you have already discussed in other panels today, so besides that, okay, you can talk about, okay, the technical implementation of, or let's say, how you're going to achieve that technically, but also you have to consider the interplay, I mean, among the, let's say, in terms of a European context, I mean, among the different regulations that, I mean, currently have been released and enforced. and all the standardization efforts that have been done across, let's say, the different technical committees. So you also talk about interoperability aspects. So among these technical committees, interoperability among and alignment among the, let's say, the concepts and the solutions that are adopted through from the different committees and topics so you talk about privacy, you talk about cyber, so AI, where with different topics. I mean, you talk about right. I mean, in terms of cybersecurity. So you have the CRA, so you have DORA, you have NIS2, you have a lot of regulations. So somehow, I mean, you have to ensure also the interoperability among all of these regulations. I mean, regulators come first, and then, I mean, with the regulations, then the standardization bodies now, and mostly the CEN-CENELEC, I mean, or the European standardization organizations, not only CEN-CENELEC, but ETSI and others, are working on the standardization requests to fulfill these requirements or the requests. So, but all of these also have to, I mean, work together, have to go through, let's say, interoperability aspects, and also look at the different facets that I have mentioned, I mean, before, I mean, in these regards. And I mean, in a way, you're lacking probably like a governance mechanism and a governance structure that put together the regulators and the standardization bodies. I mean, starting, I mean, and focusing, I mean, in the European context. Okay, so I mean, in these regards, and then, I mean, bringing these, I mean, creating the horizontal standards. I mean, so according to the requests. So then, I mean, you have, let's say, you can use that in the presumption of conformity, and then bringing that, I mean, and discussing that to the, I mean, with the international, let's say, standard organizations, right? I mean, development organizations, so like ISO, so that you bring this concern and try to discuss that and try to influence that as well. And at the same time, bringing, just to conclude, and at the same time, bringing back as well, I mean, the documents that you are also developing in these international standards into our, let's say, context, for the European context, so that, I mean, you can also, let's say, integrate that and probably adapt that to our context, so that all of these work together. So yeah, so you talk about this interoperability, you talk about the interoperability as well. I mean, so you have different layers or levels of interoperability. And coming back, let's say, to the, yes, I mean, and coming back to conclude, just coming back to the, let's say, the EU Data Act. So you have, I mean, smart contracts, I mean, supporting that. You have to bear in mind that from the Data Act, the smart contract not necessarily is, I mean, implemented using, let's say, blockchain or DLT. I mean, it can be, can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me?
Jose, everything it's okay. Just we are. I don't want to interrupt you, but we need just to go more rapidly to keep the time.
Yes.
So we are just a little late, and I want just probably Christiana after your conclusion to add something or comment.
Absolutely. Okay. So just to conclude, so again, so you talk about so smart contracts. I mean, in the EU Data Act, not necessarily is implemented in the blockchain and the DLT. And as Christiana has referred initially, you have the tension. I mean, this may be revised as well. I mean, because of pushback of the blockchain and the DLT community, because not. I mean, if you go to implement, let's say, the pure, let's say, the centralized, I mean, and the blockchain, I mean, principles, you're not following that, I mean, if you're going to follow the regulations. So yeah, you have this friction, this tension that needs to also be solved. And I mean, somehow you also have our role in defining technical, let's say, solutions to address these aspects, as you have, for example, for privacy.
Yes, thank you, Jose,
thank you very much
for your insights.
Yes.
Christiana, to just rapidly to conclude.
Yeah, I mean, to conclude, yes, of course. I want to just give a comment here regarding a question that the audience may have on how are we striking the balance at the end of the day? So how do we strike the balance between fostering innovation in the blockchain space and adhering to these stringent, let's say, controls that have been mandated by the Data Act? And in my view, I do not think this is a balance. I think it is a dependency. They are structurally independent, interdependent. So without regulation, innovation cannot scale because it lacks trust. Without standardization, regulation cannot function because it lacks operationalization. What we are seeing with the Data Act is the emergence of a sort of a new model of innovation, one that is regulated by design and standardized by default. And
Yeah,
this is where,
Christiana.
this is where we also see the role of standardization becomes as absolutely essential. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Probably Sudha in one sentence, and we have to close the meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll just summarize. Immutability without control is a risk. Governance is the only way to make it usable. Interoperability without trust becomes a full attack surface. So that needs to be plugged.
Yeah, thank you. Nice
Absolutely.
conclusion. Thank you. Thank you all experts for joining this panel. And I will let the mic probably to the next panel. Thank you.